You know what? I don't recall any of these department heads saying, no, that 8% raise is way too much for me this year. So they all had their hands out when the money was good. And now that it's tight, I absolutely agree that they're all doing this. And what upsets me more than anything, and I told you I was going to bring it up and you told me not to, but too bad, is that we have a group of department heads that, out of fear of what our personnel board may be doing in a proposed contract, are threatening to unionize. And I'm sorry, but I think that these people that are making, $85,000, $90,000, $95,000, high school education, aren't doing their jobs, have shortchanged us in, sorry, I'll stop going through them, shortchanged us in enforcement of zoning, in financial issues, in hiring outside engineering consultants, that we're paying through the nose on this, and that they have the audacity to say, if you cut my salary, we're going to sue you, and that if you threaten to take away our, 8 weeks vacation or 6 weeks vacation and trim that back, we're gonna jump into a union to try to protect ourselves so we can continue not to do our jobs, so we can continue to treat the people of this town like garbage and like a free meal ticket, because that's what they're doing. And I know they hate this board, but you know what? This board represents the people of this town. This board represents their bosses. And it makes me sick. And every one of them, I'll say it to their face, that it makes me sick that this is the way they are. And believe me, every one of them, it will be addressed, whether it's through the unionizing, whether it's through the personnel plan, they will be addressed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Sanguinet, let me ask you this, because I have to follow. I do think that the department heads as employees of the town should feel some sort of responsibility towards the town and the situation that it's in. And without naming any names, are you telling me that council on the one hand just brought this up as an issue, or that some one of our department heads or several of our department heads brought this up as an issue? Because before I really become as upset as Brenda just was, I think that's important to know. Did they themselves come to you and say, hey, if you guys are going to do this, then we're going to sue, and then you had to go to town council and ask the question?
I was with town council last week to discuss the issue that Mr. Ekstrom just brought up, and I asked her directly. I asked town council directly, is this something that I can do unilaterally, or is this something that is outside of my authority under the personnel plan? And she said that it could cause potential litigation.
Okay. Well, so you didn't have a follow-on discussion, I'm sorry, Bruce.
I beg your
Excuse
pardon.
me, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to finish
No,
my point.
I'm sorry.
So this discussion about the 6.5% cut with the department heads did not cause any consternation among the department heads themselves. It was just a conversation that you had with town council. So you're not really sure if any department head might have an issue with this 6.5% cut?
Well, they were griping about it, but they didn't.
None of them were threatening litigation?
No one was threatening litigation.
Okay, so I think that before you drop that issue, we may want to take a look at, that $28,000. It's not a lot of money, but it certainly could keep the library open for a couple more hours a week. And I think that you need to have that discussion with the department heads, or let us rehire the council on aging director a little bit sooner, or the planner a little bit sooner.
More money toward the planner.
There are things that we could do with that money, and if they're griping is one thing, but threatening litigation is something totally different. You and I had that conversation earlier about how we get to the bottom line and what we really should be putting in reserve. And it's not that I don't think that some costs might come in a lot higher than what we've actually got them in the budget for, and that we shouldn't have some reserve fund there, but even the question of adding a whole lot of money in the reserve fund when we're, cutting back on services, so strongly. I was kind of having second thoughts about that during this week. And so I had intended to raise that to the other board members as well, as well as to you. That's all I have. Go ahead, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
Well, we're only going to have about 7 minutes. So
then I'm going to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we request as a board, Mr. Sanjanet reinstitute the 6.5% pay cuts for department heads. We can't force him, but if he's listening, I sure would be paying attention, because this is too important. Every time we attempt to resolve our problems, there's always going to be a threat of litigation. I don't care. That's it? We're going to get sued? Sue! It's tough out there. Ask anybody who lives in this town, who's lucky enough to have a job. It's tough out there, okay? And I think our department heads need to start acting responsibly and contributing to the resolution, because they sure helped create this problem. And I think they're acting a little bit too over-pampered here, and it's time to, as the chairman aptly said, accept reality. I don't care if they're threatening to sue. I want this board to strongly urge the town administrator to reinstitute those 6.5% reductions. That is my motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, 500.